What up, party people? You're listening to the Drunk Sports Podcast with Big Red and IndyCarTim. Talking sports, current events, guy stuff, and everything in between. Now open up a cold one and drink along, because here they are, Lance and Tim. Gentlemen.
You can buy me a drink.
We're all drunk.
Hello, and welcome to this very special episode of the Drunk Sports Podcast. We are live from Studio 69 at Casa Not So Grande. We're doing a midweek episode to commemorate the Masters this year. I am IndyCarTim, along with my co-host.
Big Red, baby.
Big Red is here with me, and we're going to talk some Masters golf for this special episode 5. If you are a golf fan, if you are interested in the Masters, this is what you're going to want to hear, because we have got some content for you.
Content galore.
Content galore. This is going to be so much fun. We haven't done a specialized episode like this for a while, and I'm very excited about it. Big Red has actually done some preparation for once, and I'm the one flying solo with nothing in front of me other than my Facebook page on my laptop. So what's up with that, Lance?
So he's staring at his own Facebook page and not doing anything else. So
I'm staring at a Facebook page, my phone, our mixer, and a half-empty beer can of Miller Lite.
Well, I happen to have another one right here for you, brother. Look at this. Right here.
Hey, it's always good to start the show with a full can of Miller Lite.
Fresh beverage.
That's awesome, man. Hey, and I'm really excited about this episode. Lance is a lover of golf. I am also a lover of golf, but Lance, I to be quite honest, I haven't played golf regularly in probably 20 years. I follow it casually on TV. Of course, I watch the majors every year. I watch the Masters every year, and I'm super excited about this year. But Lance, I will tell you right now, Lance is a wealth and plethora of knowledge and history when it comes to golf.
But I'm nothing without the friends that I get that wealth of plethora and knowledge that it comes from.
Well, but you have a family history of the love of golf.
I have, Daddy got me started young, and it was, I'm not near as good as Tim makes me out to be, but I love playing the game. I've made numerous good friends playing the game, and it's something that the memories you'll never forget. And it's the Masters. The Masters puts a very special place in my heart because of what we remember and where we're at. And I apologize if
take your time.
If I get a little misty, but this is what this week means to me. This was the Masters is something that I was brought up into with my dad and my uncle, and we used to sit and watch every stroke from the time it came on to the time it went off every day that it was on, and it's
something special for you, isn't it?
Very much so.
I can tell.
Very much so. I was sitting in the chair today watching some highlights, and I forget every year what this week means to me. And but it's yes. On that, I'm gonna have another drink of beer. Sorry,
Lance. I love you, brother. So the Masters hits Lance really, really deep every year. He's got some special memories with his dad. We all have special memories with our dads. Mine is not of golf. My special memories of my father are Scotch and Budweiser and cigarettes in the living room.
That's not bad either.
That's not
bad either, baby. That's not bad either.
It's a whole nother story. But so yeah, Lance is our show authority on golf. I learned to play golf at 13. I played basketball in high school, blew my knee out my junior year, so I switched to golf. Was on the golf team at our high school, was our B player. My best handicap when I played regularly was 7, and that made me the B player. So I quit after high school, got more into getting married and running a business and crap like that.
Chasing chicks.
Got married. Played with my wife's father at the time. My father and I, we played 2-3 times a week. I got
Did
good
you play
again.
Did you play with her father like that dude on Vanished in Thin Air or whatever that documentary was on Facebook? Did you?
I didn't watch that.
You didn't? Well,
No.
don't, because it's disturbing.
Is it disturbing?
Yeah.
I hate disturbing shows. My wife watches that stuff. So I got good again because I played about 3 times a week. And by the way, by that time I was playing with women's clubs with graphite, very soft graphite shafts because I hated to swing hard. But then I quit playing probably regularly in about 98, 99. And every time I play now after that and I suck, it just infuriates me. Why can't I still shoot 3 over par on every course that I play? It's just infuriating to me. But Lance is a regular player. We've talked about his golf exploits at tournaments here and there, and he plays very regularly, and he's very, very good. So Lance is our show authority because of the knowledge and the history, especially of the Masters. And before the show, we were talking a little bit about some stuff with the Masters, and he was watching some old stuff about the Masters today and bringing up memories from Phil Mickelson in 95 and what was it? 04 and Crenshaw in 95. And I'm like, dude, that's how I remember Indy 500s.
Yep.
So it all makes perfect sense.
So what I wanted to kind of start off with tonight was just some Masters memories and how some of the guys that won the great tournament, that how they brought up people from their past, like I did earlier. And whenever the last one that I remember vividly was whenever Lefty, Phil Mickelson, wasn't the original Lefty. Bob Charles, I believe, was the original Lefty. Whenever he won his first Masters, won his first major, and I believe it was his 12th Masters, if I'm not mistaken. Whenever he won his first Masters, it was a long day on Sunday. He battled hard with the Big Easy and Ernie Els. Battled long and hard with him all day long, and he came up to 18. And Chris DeMarco had hit his second shot into 18 into the front left bunker. And Phil was probably 12 to 15 feet past the pin. And whenever DeMarco came out of the trap, his ball landed and stopped. I believe Phil said about 3 inches just past his ball. And so Phil was going to get a good look. And any of y'all that play golf, you know that whenever one of your boys has got a putt, you almost want to run over there and watch every inch of it. So he
That's what she said.
Well, that's not always right, but DeMarco hit his putt, and Phil watched every bit of it the entire way down, and then he stood over his ball, hit the same putt on the same line, and he knew it was going to break a little bit left or right, and he knew he needed to go just outside left edge. And whenever he struck his putt, DeMarco missed his. Whenever Phil hit his putt, it got straight to the left edge, and it somehow cut just enough, and it dropped. And Philly, earlier in the year,
I do remember watching that on TV. That was an amazing.
That was when he did his
leap into the air.
His icon jump that's on all of his clothes and everything else. He says in his post round press conference, he talked about his 94-year-old granddaddy that had passed away earlier that year. And one of the last things that his granddaddy told him was, "This is your year. You're going to do it this year." And later on that year, in the month of April, Phil made that putt and made it happen. And Phil says that he knows to himself that his granddaddy had something to do with that. And I'm sure there's so many more stories that that follow those lines. One of my favorite was a guy that I watched as a kid, the great Ben Crenshaw, old Gentle Ben. He in 1995, his mentor, his coach, his teacher, like a second father to him, Harvey Pinnock, died. And Gentle Ben and Tom Kite left Augusta on Tuesday after the practice round. Left on Tuesday, flew to Austin, and were pallbearers for Mr. Pinnock's funeral. And then they got back on the plane, flew back, and started the tournament on Thursday. And Ben mentions after he sank that little 4 or 5 foot putt that he made in '95 to win the Masters, he mentions a couple of times that there was, there were times on Sunday that he hit the ball and he knew he was in jail. And any of you guys out there, girls out there that play golf, and when you hit it, you're in the shit. And you got no prayer, you got to punch out and just make sure that you got some kind of shot. Well, every time that happened that day, he would have a hole. And there would be a hole almost to the line. And he swore that Mr. Pinnock, at some point in time, gave him a little foot wedge and gave him the light of day to make it happen.
That's a great story. I love that story. I love all of those. Golf, if you're not a follower of golf and you don't play golf, golf's a very emotional game. And
absolutely,
golfers are athletes. I will tell you right now, golfers are athletes. That's a debate sometimes among people who don't know. But these guys ride the emotional roller coaster every shot, every hole, every tournament. And for there to be stories like that, where they can connect family members or life experience to a tournament is I love that so much.
The hardest shot in golf is the 6 inches between your ears. And I hear that. I've heard that from probably every pro that I've ever talked to, and every person that's ever tried to teach me anything about golf. The hardest shot is clearing that area 6 inches between your ears, and it's just something everybody needs to remember and play the game, enjoy the game, love your brothers and sisters when you're out there playing. Drink a beer and remember the good times. Remember those people that got you into the game.
And like as I mentioned, I played golf for a little while. I did play in some high pressure situations in district play in high school. We were a brand new high school when we played, and we ran up against some powerhouses in the form of Burtner High School back in the day. I can't remember who came out of Burtner that we played against, but he went pro, and he was. I can't remember. Should have probably looked that up, but we had a couple of guys that went pro, a couple of guys that went on to Southwest Conference careers. Yes, that's how long ago I was in high school.
God bless the Southwest Conference.
But we played some hard courses, and being the B player, I was expected to perform and beat my guys, and I'm never on the level of PGA or even any type of pro tour, but I've been in pressure situations, and dude, it is more than 50% mental.
It's gut-wrenching, man.
Golf is very much a muscle memory game. These guys that are pros swing thousands of times every day on different shots, and in their head they've got it right, in their muscles they've got it right, and then they go out, they're on TV, they're in front of hundreds of people making these pressure shots. And it goes to their head, and they sometimes you can't do it, and it's because of your head, not because of your swing or mechanics or anything.
Right. So let's change gears a little bit. I've got our little podcast here. We got a good buddy, same as John Gerber. Played on some mini tours. He is he's one of your friendly neighborhood PGA members, and he carries his card, and he's a great dude. We love him so much. He comes to town pretty often. Me and a buddy of mine, Jeb, we go out and swing them, and of course we get our ass handed to us all the time. But it's just how it works. But he is also a player of the books. He likes to frequent Vegas. And if you guys are guys and dolls, my drunk dudes and dolls, if y'all are out there into wagering a little bit of money and happen to hit Vegas or your local sports book and want to lay down some money, I got some inside stats and from my buddy Johnny. He has sent me 3 solids and a long shot for the tournament this week. We his top pick, and he thinks he's on, and I will not disagree with the man because he is. I like to have him in my hip pocket when I'm standing on the tee box, and I like him second reading my green because I'm always off. But Mr. Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar is his big pick. I asked him if I put his feet to the fire, who would he have to pick? He said Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar is number 1 in the FedEx Cup points right now. He has 2 wins and 5 top 10s this year, and he has made $4.42 million this year on the tour. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. My lovely bride came out and brought the 4-legged hounds out here to entertain us while we're doing this. But he is he's from Florida, and he was also he's a Georgia Tech alum, and if any of you know, he was also a U.S. Amateur champ. The numbers on Mr. Kuchar this weekend, a couple of different books, and of course, if you wager, do it just for fun. Do it with your boys. We're not in this for anybody else, but just to have fun. So, Mr. Kuchar is on a couple of different sites I've seen is a 35-1. So, bet $1, make 35. Bet 100, make 3,500.
That simplifies the betting line because I'll be honest, I'm very confused sometimes about what that means.
But there's also
a non-gambler.
There's also a money line out there. He is a plus 4,500. So bet 100, make 4,500. So just go check your books, see where you're at, and wager respectively, and make sure your friends don't take all your money. Number 2, Mr. Henrik Stenson he's a Swede. We all know him. He has haunted us in Ryder Cups past. He has 1 top 10 this year. He's off to a little bit of a slow start. He's got a meager $402,000 in winnings this year.
How do these guys live? They just don't make any money.
I don't understand how somebody can live on. I mean, we're in April, and yes, their season started in what was it, November or October, November, and he's only made $400,000.
I mean, they have to have side jobs, right?
Probably. I don't know how they pay their caddies.
Some of them don't, apparently.
Well, we're not gonna doggone Cooch about that.
We won't get into that.
But Mr. Henson or Stenson, a 43-year-old Swede, he is a 65-1 to win. There's also another book that has him out there at a plus 6,600. Bet 100 makes 6,600. John is big on him. His third solid is Mr. Mark Leishman, a 35-year-old Aussie, and he has he's cut us up a little bit in President's Cup in years past.
Do love the President's Cup.
He is number 7 in the FedEx Cup points. He has 1 win this year and 5 top 10, so he's stroking the ball pretty well, and has a mere $2.64 million in money in the 2019 season.
So he's probably got him a little modest 2-bedroom apartment in Midtown Manhattan that, you know.
And possibly has a housekeeper, maybe.
Man, I should have stuck with golf, not podcasting.
Maybe not. Podcasting, we're going to get a whole lot further. With our longevity, dude, we can go to 90 doing this.
That's true.
You cannot swing a golf club and make money at 90.
But I can talk till I'm blue in the face till I die.
What? And your wife proves that every day.
Oh, God almighty.
So Mr. Leachman is currently at 50-1. And on another book, he is at a plus 5,500. So bet $100, make $5,500. That's pretty stout.
That's good money. That's good money for not doing anything.
So and then he gave me Mr. Gerber gave me a long shot, and Johnny G likes a hometown boy. He likes a hometown boy for his long shot.
And we do have a golfer from Augusta.
This is a golfer from Augusta. Charles Howell III. Oh, Chucky Three Sticks.
Love that nickname, by the way.
Great nickname. Chucky Three Sticks is currently number 6 on the FedEx Cup in the points ranking. He has 1 win and 4 top 10s, and has made a mere $2.54 million this year.
Since November,
or October, November, and I'm sure I'll be corrected.
Whenever it started,
by somebody somewhere. I don't know where the funny season starts.
We should have looked.
But I don't, dude. You know me better than that. I don't dig that deep into any kind of.
Apologies and corrections for the next episode.
There you go.
We'll look it up.
Mark me down. The 2 biggest reasons for Kuchar and Howell to be on the list. Kuchar is number 1 in greens and regulation so far this year, and old Chucky's Three Sticks is number 2. So that's a good place to be when you're at the hallowed grounds of Augusta, and I believe that's 4 pretty good names if you want to throw a dime at your boys and see if they won't bite at it. So listen to our boy John Gerber and have some fun this week. Enjoy what you're listening to, what you watch. If you can watch every damn stroke of it, do it. And remember the memories made along the way.
And, let's bring that up real fast. The classiness of the broadcast of the Masters every year. I know the Masters, Augusta National, is unlike any other course, any other tournament, where they pretty much dictate anything and everything that goes on regarding the golf tournament. Where the cameras are placed, who does the broadcast. Obviously, they dictate who's on the course. But, let's talk a minute about CBS and Jim Nantz.
Hello, friends.
God, and I love Jim Nantz as a broadcaster.
Does Jim Nantz not have the single greatest job in sports broadcasting right now?
Dude, he does whatever he wants.
He's going to do the national championship, basketball, hop on a plane, fly to the beautiful Augusta, Georgia, and sit and watch guys, the greatest in the game, strike a little white pill and call it.
Like he's done for years. Well, and you know what? I used to say back in the day, Pat Summerall and John Madden were the voice of football. You hear John Madden and Pat Summerall
you knew
on a broadcast.
You knew you were watching.
It used to be you knew you were listening to CBS. Then in '94, Fox took that from CBS, from CBS, and then CBS took the AFC from NBC. So they moved to Fox. But
poor old NBC, all they've got is one football game a week.
How many years did we listen to John Madden and Pat Summerall broadcast football? Dude, it's the same with Jim Nantz.
So many childhood memories, dude. So many childhood memories.
And it's just, it is part of the tradition. He talks about the tradition, but he is part of it. And it's amazing. Just that soothing voice. So you probably know this. You know who his college roommate was?
Freddie Boom Boom Couples.
There it is right there. Which
Freddie
is cool
Boom Boom
because
Couples.
that's probably one of my favorite PGA players of all time.
Yes.
And the fact that they were roommates.
One of the smoothest, longest swings. Of course, that's why he has so many back troubles today. But he put it together, man.
Yeah, and man, just the soothing voice of Jim Nantz, the presentation by CBS is second to none. And man, CBS Sports has gotten it right. I hope they keep it forever because somebody could really jack that up. And that for the entire tradition of the Masters, the history, that would be a shame for somebody like Fox to get it. And put the but remember when Fox got hockey in '93 and they put the Fox tracks on the puck?
I also remember whenever
They should do that with golf
Fox
balls.
started some of the majors, and we're not going to bash anybody, but there's far better people to broadcast a major golf tournament than some of those Fox guys. And
Well, it wasn't their fault.
They're great dudes, and they do a great job, but they just do not have the chemistry that those guys at CBS do. I mean, you got Nance and Faraday. Who doesn't?
Faraday's amazing.
Who does not love to listen to Faraday? I mean, besides his accent, he's funny as hell. And then you got always sits at number 16 on McCord, Gary McCord.
Gary McCord.
Gary
with the
McCord. Of course,
mustache.
Gary McCord was once banished from
Yes, he was.
from Augusta because he failed to call the people that watch the golf tournament there. He failed to call them the patrons, and he called them the mob.
Called him the mob. And Augusta National did not take too kindly to that.
No, they do not. So if you ever in something else, I got a text message or a Facebook post from a guy that was out there Monday. Was today Monday at Augusta for the practice round, and he just so happened to pull his cell phone out, and he had a badge for the practice round all day, and he pulled his phone out, and I don't know if he was taking a picture. I don't know the whole story about it yet, but somebody with a badge that worked there walked by, took his phone from him, removed his badge from his neck, and escorted him to the gate and handed him his phone and said, "Thank you for coming. Please don't bring your phone back." So if you ever go back out
I'd
there,
like to see that on video.
well, you know what? It is a special place,
Yep.
and you do not
Play by their rules.
You do not soil those hallowed grounds.
No, you play by their rules, and that is part of the tradition, man. Amen Corner. Everything about Augusta National, just the history of membership, the very contested history of membership. Tiger playing there as a youngster, and it's the tradition. Jim Nance says it every year. It's a tradition unlike any other,
And it
he
will
is
always
not
remain
lying.
that way. And
he is not lying.
and bless them, the good folks of Augusta that put on that tournament, and the guys that run the country club. They've come under a lot of fire in years past, but you know what, they put on a great tournament, and people will never stop watching. It will always be one of the highest watched golf tournaments of the year, and that's another reason that Jim Nance is in the spot that he's in, because he's the best at it.
And Augusta National every year, I'm sure it's in the contract with CBS. He's calling our coverage. Nobody else can do it. But you know what would be interesting? I thought about this as Jim Nance was doing the Virginia and Texas Tech NCAA Men's Basketball National Championship. I thought about this. So anybody that watched that, and I don't want to get off on college basketball, but as far as the broadcast goes, of course, Jim Nance did play-by-play. I don't remember who did color. I didn't watch hardly any of it. We watched on TV and couldn't hear it. But so they go to a out-of-bounds review. So Gene Steratore was doing the rules interpretations.
I know exactly where you're going, and I cussed the TV every time you came on.
Gene Steratore was an NFL referee. Why was he on college basketball?
But if they do, if they don't, they maybe should. NFL referees are dogged day in and day out. All referees are dogged day in and day out. Those guys that call your 7-year-old kids baseball games
It is the hardest job.
get way too much shit. Give those guys a break. They're out there doing their job. They're just trying to do something they love. So give those guys props. But why is Gene Steratore, a NFL official who would, if they were in the Hall of Fame, he would probably be one of them.
He was a good one.
He's been around. He was probably around for, 20-plus years?
And that's why CBS
Calling
asked
ball
him
games.
to do their football coverage in the booth, and that's
right.
great.
Yeah, absolutely. And but why do you have a man like that has a NFL pedigree calling a NCAA basketball game? Why can't you find? I mean, I know that we've had controversies in the past with NBA officials, and stuff like that. But there are good dudes out there, solid guys out there that can do that, and they're much better at it. They know the game.
Or
They've
Steratore.
lived the game, not an NFL guy.
So my reason for bringing that up was not to go off on a rant about Gene Steratore or the basketball tournament, the Final Four or anything, but why would CBS? I wonder if CBS would ever consider Jim Nance's best friend and huge golfer and his partner calling CBS NFL football games. I wonder if they would bring in Tony Romo to sit next to Jim Nance. And how that would go.
I would bet one of my meager paychecks in the near future that before you and I close our eyes for that long dirt nap that's going to happen, that Mr. Romo may not be in the booth with him, but he will be on the broadcast. The man knows far too much about golf, and those of you that are Cowboy fans and gripe and moan and bitch about him playing in tournaments with when he was a Cowboy, playing in tournaments and getting exemptions and stuff like that, you know what? The man loves the game.
It's his passion. As much as, if not more than football.
Football was his profession. Golf was his passion. And don't give me any shit about how bad or if you thought he was any less of a quarterback because he loved golf. It doesn't matter. It's different signs, different times. It happens.
And he would, I mean, I have no question he would be good at it. He knows his golf. He's been playing forever. He's good at golf.
Do you think that he could call a man's shot if it was going to be, if he would hit it?
Would that be funny?
20 feet left of the pin, like he does
like he predicts plays,
like a 17-yard out.
Yeah,
I mean
that would be funny.
The dude is he's remarkable, and I would love to listen to him. Of course, I'm a Romo-sexual. I mean, I love the dude.
You are more so than me. I also love Tony Romo. I wouldn't call myself that. But I do love Tony Romo. But what if? I mean, how great would this be for him to say, Roy? I can't say this guy's name. Rory McIlroy. I've never been able to say his name, and I don't know why I picked him for this example because I can't say his name. Rory McIlroy is on 18 with an approach shot to the green, and Tony says, what he needs to do here, Jim, is hit it about 20 feet to the left and let it come back to the hole. And boom, what if that happens? And Jim Nance is just like, Tony, once again, you're absolutely right. Why are you not playing? And
That's
Tony
a mic drop
say,
moment.
Well, I tried.
That's a mic drop moment.
Yeah, because you know what would happen? Because he would know that course inside and out as a broadcaster being allowed on the course.
Yep.
The weeks before the tournament. So that's just sidebar. I think that would be great if Tony was able to do that with Jim.
So let's change gears a little bit. We brought up a couple of fun nicknames from some of these guys that we were talking about earlier, and Boom Boom and Chucky Three Sticks and stuff like that.
This is going to be my favorite part of the broadcast.
It's fun. I mean, it's something to look at. I've got a list here of I don't know, 15, 17 best golfer nicknames of all time. Timmy, what is your favorite golf nickname of all time?
Probably one of the, 3 nicknames that I'm aware of for my favorite golfer of all time, John Daly.
Long John Daly.
Do you know why I like John Daly?
Because John Daly can drink as much Miller Lite as we can.
Dude, that is what John Daly drinks, first of all, is Miller Lite. He makes no apologies.
God bless the man.
If you ever watched his reality show, he drank it on the air and was not even sponsored by Miller Lite and didn't care. So Long John was one of his nicknames, and of course now that I'm on the air, I'm forgetting the other ones that he had. And by the way, we'll go back to this in a second. I have to ask you about a rumor I've heard at the Masters regarding John Daly and his actions there.
I may have an answer.
And it may be something you've heard of or not. But I've heard some things about him going out there. Of course, he doesn't play anymore. But so one of my all-time favorite nicknames for any athlete in whatever sport is Wild Thing. And, of course, that's one of John Daly's nicknames. It applies more to his lifestyle than it does his game.
Yes, it does.
Which is even better. And, of course, Long John, and he was also called the Lion. So those are probably especially Wild Thing, that's probably my favorite nickname for a golfer because it's so anti-golf, right?
Right.
Being wild and
yep.
Yeah, as he was very anti-establishment.
So of the folks that we've talked about earlier, we talked about the Big Easy. I mean, that's pretty easy. Ernie Els, one of the biggest dudes on the tour, big long swing, never acted like he was trying to kill the damn ball, but the damn thing just went off like a missile. How about
that's what she said.
How about the Great White Shark?
Do you love the Great White Shark?
He
I
hate
going back to high school,
and I hate bringing his name up during Masters Week after his fail with
meltdowns,
his meltdown with Faldo. But one of the great pros. He's always been there, and he's always made money for all the charities and everything else that he's done. Then we've got. Do you know who the Boss of the Moss is?
I do not know who that is. I see that on your phone over there, and I don't know who that is.
The Boss of the Moss is of course Mr. Lauren Roberts, called the Boss of the Moss because
Lauren Roberts.
The man could putt. I mean, he could read a green, know where he was going, and he was.
So Moss refers to the putting surface.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I've ever heard that before.
Absolutely. So there's another couple of shots. One of the funniest names that I've heard, and mentioned him earlier, and then I hadn't heard it in a long time till my buddy John Gerber brought him up. Chucky Three Sticks.
That dude, that's up there. That's one
Charles
of my favorites.
Howell III, and I know that I've heard rumor that they may even call him Thurston every once in a while in the clubhouse.
Which would make sense.
But good dude, and you know what? He may be worth a couple of bucks to maybe pull this thing off this week. I
do love the underdog.
I can't wait watching this thing, man. It's.
Are we gonna watch some of this together?
We need to.
I mean, Thursday and Friday I'll have to watch it from work, but
we'll
get together this weekend and watch some.
We'll see what happens.
Final round. We got to watch final round together.
How about the all-time leader in major championships? Can you tell me his nickname?
You would be referring to the great Jack Nicklaus, who is also known as the Golden Bear.
Who has, he's got lines of clubs, he's got clothes, he's got everything. But yes, one of the probably, until I'm proven otherwise, and I always said that Tiger, which is a nickname, would because it's Eldrick, would overtake him in major wins. But until it happens, the single greatest golfer in majors history is the Golden Bear, Mr. Jack Nicklaus. And I don't know that any man has given more back to the game and done more for the game than Mr. Nicklaus. And I know that my buddy Mr. Gerber, John Gerber, is from Ohio, and he gets to play Muirfield, and he may even be a member out there. So yeah, it's very close to his heart. So I know he'll be proud to hear that. What about another guy? Shares my birthday, and easy, should be easy, should be a knockout for you. What is Arnold Palmer's nickname?
I thought Arnold Palmer was his nickname because it's a drink.
Well,
that he invented that we all drink.
so what's a John Daly instead of an Arnold Palmer?
Oh, I don't know that.
A John Daly,
It's Miller Lite.
no. A Arnold Palmer is half sweet, half tea, half lemonade.
Right.
A John Daly is tea, lemonade, and vodka.
Okay, I can see that.
Back when he was,
I'm gonna order that at Firehouse next week when we
they
broadcast there.
will have
see if
zero
they know
idea
what it
of
is.
what the hell we're talking
Our
about.
lovely bartender Katie will have zero idea what that means.
But we will inform her. But Mr. Palmer, God rest his soul, another
second greatest golfer ever. Where would he be in your rankings?
as far as
I mean, longevity, he's way up there.
in longevity, he's way up there.
50 straight master starts.
In the man, yes, and I remember his last. I remember
04.
him. I remember him crossing the Hogan Bridge,
Yep.
and that was
a special moment for
it was
TV
tough.
and everybody.
It was tough. It was a sports cry moment for
Yep.
me. But he's the king. He's the king.
Arnie is the
And his masses were the army.
Arnie's Army.
Arnie's army.
Jack Nicklaus hated Arnie's Army. He was
Because
trying to compete back in the day coming up.
Because he was a kid, dude.
Yep.
He was a kid, and he was just trying to make his mark. It
Yep.
was like whenever Tiger came out with "Hello World," you know.
I wish I'd have been around for that because that's probably one of the greatest rivalries in the history of golf.
Would love to have seen those guys
Was
go
when Jack
head
was
to head.
coming up and Arnie was already established, and Jack wasn't just stealing tournaments from Arnie; he was stealing fans from Arnie.
Right. But yes, and the next one that I have is it's happened before and it's been beaten, but old Mr. 59, Mr. Al Geiberger.
Al Geiberger.
He was the first man to ever shoot a 59 in a PGA Tour sanctioned event, and that's pretty tough, man. That's pretty tough.
Well, being
Pretty
the
tough.
first, yeah, that's saying something.
Well, I mean, shooting a 59. I mean, I've seen
I've
those.
shot a 59 before.
Well, in the back nine at the local putt place
Oh,
is
that didn't
not.
count?
No, it
oh,
does not count. No.
yeah. I
No,
mean,
I'm
I've
sorry.
shot lots of 59s,
Yeah.
but it was just on the front or back nine. Yeah, more of this over there?
Yeah, hell yeah, I got another one, baby. Sorry for the dead air. I was reaching for a beer for my boy here.
Oh, there's no dead air. We got lots of air here.
How about an LPGA chick? Not bad looking either, I might say. Not
This
bad
needs
looking.
to be a visual segment, I feel like.
How about if I gave you the nickname, the Pink Panther? Would you be able to tell me who that might belong to?
I would not, but I can think
Paula
of several.
Creamer. Paula Creamer. She
Wait, is her last name Creamer or Kramer? I know it's spelled Creamer, but I think it's pronounced Kramer.
Kramer?
I believe
Paula
it's
Kramer.
Kramer.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I was thinking with the other head when I said that.
No, and her name to me is makes me uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, the chick can strap the ball. You know what I'm
She
saying?
can strike whatever ball she wants to
Well,
strike. That's a different
But
show.
yeah. Well, we've got and one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorites, a Masters champ. We're going to finish up on this, and it is one of the maybe the only father and son to ever play in the same Masters at the same time.
Oh.
Mr. Craig Stadler and his son, the Walrus and the Smallrus.
I did love me some walrus back in the day.
I remember the man losing the golf tournament for placing a towel under his
Yep.
knees when he was hitting from underneath either a cedar tree or an evergreen tree of some sorts. And they said that he was building a stance.
Yep.
And it cost him a tournament.
I remember that.
It cost
so
him a
well.
tournament.
That was big. That was big in the golf world. That whole incident.
It rattled trees. It
Yeah.
rattled trees in more ways than one.
Because his knees were on top of a towel because he didn't want to get his pants dirty.
The man wanted to look good. Hey, you know what? He's built like we are.
Well, did he really want to look good, or did he just not want to get his pants dirty? Because Craig Stadler was not one for fashion
Well, I mean,
or fitness.
Whenever a guy could finish a round and half his shirt was untucked and he could give a shit what it looked like, I would. The dude was greatness, and
Yep.
he's still around, and God bless you, brother.
Dude, I did love me some Craig Stadler back in the day.
The Walrus and the Smallrus. Those are two great names.
Those are awesome nicknames.
And but yeah, this was our kind of a little wrap up, getting a little prep ready for y'all for the Masters, and
So
we know that not everybody's a golf fan like we are, but it holds special places in our hearts, and I know that those guys out there that it holds special places for y'all, and I know 2 or 3 guys in particular right off the top of my head that will watch every stroke televised, and I wish I was there with you, but we love y'all. Thank you so much for listening.
I got one more thing before we shut this down.
No, get it.
So you brought up the odds. You brought up the betting line favorites.
Yes, sir.
Do you, Big Red Lance Dorsett, have a pick who you think is going to win the 2019 Masters?
If I had to
And
go,
I'm putting Lance on the spot. We did not talk about this in pre-show.
no, we did not. And I mean, if I had to go away from what my buddy Johnny sent me, if I had to go from my heart and not from my head, I want nothing more than for Tiger to put it together.
Really?
Yes. Just, dude, I know he's got personal issues, and he's had personal issues, and he may not be the friendliest guy around, but I
Well,
think
it's not a popularity contest. I mean, whoever
Exactly.
you think's going to win, that's who your pick is.
absolutely. So, but with since he's been back, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, his personality has changed. He's been humbled, and he's got a pretty damn good golf game right now, boy. He's got a pretty damn good golf game.
He's changed his swing tremendously.
Well, he's
from
changed his
back in the day.
swing 4 or 5 times in the last 5 years, and we all know what it looked like whenever he came back, his first time back at the Phoenix Open, and was sculling shit like I do on around the golf course with
Right.
chips and shit. So, I mean, it should bring some of you guys to know that the humility of this game and why it means so much to the rest of us. I mean, the guys that play, we all know we hit that shit, and we all know we hit that bad spot, but it's that one shot you hit during the round, and it's pure, and it's right where you want it, or that putt that goes in that had no prayer to go in, but you think, you know what, maybe I can do that again. And I got one more thing to say, and
Let me get my pick.
give it to me.
I have a pick.
Well, but
My pick to win the 2019 Masters.
Betty Choo Choo don't count.
Is John Daly playing?
No, he's
Okay,
not.
then I wasn't going to pick him
because he's sitting outside. He's sitting outside the gate in a motorhome selling T-shirts. And if I was there,
That's what I was gonna ask you.
I would be buying T-shirts from him and drinking beer with
So
the
that's
man.
yeah, I forgot. That's what I was. But he's not outside the gate of the course.
He's pretty close.
I was told he was parked in the Hooters parking lot, and that's where he parks and spends the week.
He
signing autographs, and
maybe
selling
so,
merch,
but
and signing boobs.
But I guarantee you, he ain't far. He ain't far from the noise.
So I've heard that rumor over the last few years, but I've never been able to confirm that. So
God bless you,
are
brother. I hope
confirming that,
I hope
right?
you get there on the grounds one day, and just I want to see it happen. And if you're ever there, I'll look for you.
So I have a real pick though. That was my
And drink beer on the course.
That was my
Swear to
drunk
God, I will.
my drunk Tim pick. My sober Tim pick after all of my analysis, and I did do a little bit of analysis preparation for this. And it's not a long shot. It's not a shocking prediction. But the guy that I cannot pronounce his name, Rory McIlroy, I believe, will win the 2019 Masters.
So you believe he will clear
the Grand Slam,
he
baby.
will clear the lifetime Grand Slam.
Yep, he will
You
clear.
know this is his 5th attempt at it.
Yep. But he's playing really well right now.
I watched that kid when he was growing up, and man, he's always been good, and he's one of the greatest drivers of the ball in the game today. The dude can straight lace it.
Right. So that's my pick. So we'll see how that works
So
out.
let's take our picks, and I believe that I'm gonna if I had a book to go to, I might put my money on Mr. Kuchar being number ones in green regulation, and Cooch is fun to say. I mean, who doesn't like a little Cooch now and then?
I just hope he pays his caddy at the end of the tournament.
Well, he will, and he learned his lesson about that. Let's not dog him for that.
So, we're not the only ones associated with this show. We'd like to hear the listener picks. You can communicate with us while you're listening or at any time you want. We're both on Twitter. I am at IndyCarTim. He is at DrunkBigRed. We have a show Twitter. At Drunk Sports DFW. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Drunk Sports Podcast. We'd like to hear from you. What are your predictions, your analysis for this year's Masters, and anything else that you'd like to tell us about our past episodes? What do you like to hear in future episodes? What you like about the show? What you don't like about the show? You may hate me personally, as many people do, and that is perfectly fine. I would love to hear about that as well.
Fuck, I hate you.
Lance has way more friends than I do. But we appreciate you listening. This has been the Drunk Sports Podcast preview of the 2019 Masters Tournament, and I'm very excited. Lance, you want to wrap things up?
Thank you y'all for listening. I got some dear friends in prayer need. Let's love each other and enjoy that round of golf. Drink beer with buddies. Lady Bird, I love you, laying over there on the ground. Look at me. Yeah, I love you, sweet girl.
She did, too.
So, y'all love each other. Have a good night, and God bless.
All right, thank you for listening to this episode of the Drunk Sports Podcast. Join us next time for more Drunk Sports Talk with Lance and Tim. They are hammered. Until next time, here's to ya.
We're all drunk.
This is the funnest night ever.